So being an entrepreneur can be one of the most challenging, but more importantly, one of the most rewarding career choices that there can possibly be. So to set you off on the right path, I've pulled together my top tips for making sure and guaranteeing that as an entrepreneur, you're going to be hugely successful. Now, first of all, a surefire way to succeed is get yourself a mentor. Now, there are two types of mentor. I've done a whole video just on mentoring if you want to go and watch it. And we talk about the fact that there are virtual mentors and physical mentors. So when we talk about a physical mentor, that might be somebody that you can go and spend time with, that you can sit down, someone who's been there, walked in those shoes, and who you can just offload to, talk about the challenges of what you're doing, and they can help you work through everything that you're doing. Then there are the virtual mentors. Now, I talk a lot about virtual mentoring. This here is an example of virtual mentoring. So virtual mentoring is when you're working with someone who has no idea that you're working with them, no idea that you even exist. And what you're doing, you could be reading their book, you could be watching their YouTube videos, you could be maybe studying what they do. A great example of where I had a virtual mentor is for years and years, I wanted to be the best in my field when it came to TV shopping. So I looked at who I considered to be the best in their field at TV shopping. I studied them, I watched what they do, and I psychoanalyzed why I thought they did a great job and how they made me feel in that moment. And then I tried to model myself on their behaviours. So it's a brilliant example of virtual mentoring and one I would highly recommend. Maybe get a mix of both real and virtual mentoring. Now, the second one is have a plan, okay? To fail to plan is to plan to fail. I know it's an age-old saying, but it really does make all the difference. And the reason you want to plan is twofold. First of all, it really makes you focus on what does the future look like? Where am I trying to get and how am I trying to get there? And just the process of sitting down and writing that plan will really help hone your thoughts and get you into that right headspace. But the other side to having a plan is that it's like a roadmap. It gives you a direction for where you're going and how you're getting there, and it means you can measure your progress. When you're writing a plan, try and think about the journey, but not only the destination, but what are the milestones along the way that you are going to hit so that you can tell that you're working in the right direction. Now, number 3, there's no easy way to say this. Be prepared to just work your butt off, okay? Don't let anybody ever tell you being an entrepreneur is easy, okay? It really used to frustrate me, especially when I first had the kids and I'd make friends with other mums and they'd say to me, oh my God, it must be so great being your own boss. You know, you can decide what hours you work, you can do the school run whenever you want to, you can be in control of your own destiny and work your own hours. They've just got absolutely no idea, these people. What I always say is being an entrepreneur is not a career choice, it's a lifestyle choice. You know, if you're looking and thinking, should I be an entrepreneur as a job or should I take this 9-to-5 job? Trust me, entrepreneurialism isn't for you. Being an entrepreneur, it's all encompassing. It doesn't have time scales, doesn't have time bounds. You're constantly on and it's not that you're working 24/7, but you're switched on to this 24/7. And I think you need to be open to that mindset and be prepared to work your butt off before you head on into this, okay? Now, number 4. Know your strengths and play to them. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people, certainly when they start small businesses, say to me, well, there's only me, so I've got to do everything. I'm the toilet cleaner, I'm the bin lady, you know, as well as the sales director and the marketing manager and the finance director. Yes, when it's a small business, you really have to be prepared to do everything and you have to be able to do everything. But never lose sight of the thing that you are the best at that adds the most value. I always say, work out what you think you can be the best in the world at. Now, for me, that was selling. You know, I was so passionate and driven about products and selling. And if I could spend all the time that I spend in front of potential buyers or in front of customers, that is how I knew I would succeed. And every minute that I was away from doing that and doing something else in the business was a minute that I wasn't adding the maximum amount of value to the business. Doesn't mean that I don't do everything else, but don't lose sight of that one thing that you truly are the best in the world at, and make sure you carve out time to do it. And as you build out a workforce around what you do, start and fill in the gaps of the things that you aren't so good at first. So always leaving more and more time. So as the business grows, you should get more and more time to do the thing that you're so brilliant at. 5th one, Manage the money. I don't ever want to hear from someone, I don't know finance, I don't understand finance, maths was never my strong point at school. You need to understand the money. You need to understand how much money you're making, most importantly, how much profit you're making, but you need to be able to keep an eye on the cash. Cash is king in any business. And so many great businesses I see fail, not because it wasn't a great idea, but because they've run out of cash, because they haven't managed the cash flow, okay? Every entrepreneur, without exception, needs to get to grips with the basic fundamentals and how cash can impact a business. And we will look at that in a lot more detail over this series with some other in-depth videos at managing money and managing your own cash flow. But those are my big 5 top tips on, if you're getting started, where you need to look at to make sure you are truly successful.